university scientists and reproductive rights.
And joining me now is the quite fearless New York Attorney General Letitia James. It is great to see you. We played that clip of the town hall where you talked about all of the work you're doing. There's so much that you're doing and so much you're coordinating. And one of the things that you're trying to to address and to stop is Trump's effort to get rid of birthright citizenship. You've been leading this effort that's going to the Supreme Court next week because the Trump administration is trying to overturn the injunction. Obviously, getting rid of birthright citizenship is pretty clearly not constitutional. I'm not a lawyer, but I think I can say that. But there's still a 6-3 court. As you're looking to next week, how confident are you that they are going to protect birthright citizenship, something you've been fighting to protect?
So first, Jen Psaki, let me just congratulate you on day 3.
Oh, thank you.
Really, it's an honor and a privilege to be here this evening. We held a community impact hearing this evening to talk about all of the cases that we have been involved in, and we have been winning. And I want all of you and your viewers to know that we've been preparing for this moment. We've analyzed Project 2025. We've analyzed jurisdiction and venue. We've analyzed its causes and claims, and we've distributed a number of cases to all of the Democratic attorneys general. So we were ready on day 1. And within 24 hours after his unlawful executive order, we decided to respond to birthright citizenship. And the United States Supreme Court, for the most part, is primarily reviewing a narrow issue, and that is whether or not the courts, lower courts, have the authority to issue nationwide injunctions. And that really is the issue. We believe birthright citizenship, as you know, is grounded in the 14th Amendment. And in fact, 2 attorneys general, the attorney general from Connecticut and from Illinois, are both birthright citizenship babies. And it's really personal to them. And so it's really critically important that we stand up for the rule of law, we stand up for democracy, and we stand up for all of those who are being harmed by these illegal, unlawful executive orders that basically exceed the authority of President Trump.
One of the reasons I was so excited to talk to you tonight is I think the power of what Democratic attorneys general are doing, like you, is such an interesting force against the illegality of what the Trump administration is doing. And there's so many examples of this. I wanted to ask you, as I was looking at all the things you were doing, there was this report in Business Insider last week that your office is looking at potential insider trading by the president's inner circle centered on last month's market roiling tariff policies. Now, this obviously is a topic that's gotten a lot of attention in the city of Washington, D.C. When asked about it, your spokesperson said you were looking at it. So I guess my question is, what's the latest? Are you looking at it? What might that look like?
So obviously, when it comes to our investigations, I really can't speak to the issue. I can just say that we are looking at the issue. As you know, the emoluments clause was weakened by the United States Supreme Court. But you also know, I'm sure you know, that we have jurisdiction under the Martin Act and we police Wall Street. And so it's really critically important that we look at individuals who engage in insider trading, and individuals who seek to enrich themselves and or their families. So we are continuing to look at it. And when we have information to report, we will report it to the media and to individuals who are very much interested.
We will be watching that. You and your office are quite. Go ahead.
Well, SEC, unfortunately, SEC, as you know, they're no longer partners. In the past, under the previous administration, under President Biden, we worked very closely with a number of federal agencies, and unfortunately, we can no longer rely upon the federal government.
That is important for people to understand, too. I have to ask you, there were reports today that the Justice Department has launched a criminal investigation into real estate transactions that you're involved with. I'm not validating that in any way, but I wanted to just ask you if you've received a formal notice of that at this point.
No, not at all. These allegations, Jen, are baseless. They have been discredited, refuted. There was a letter that was prepared by my attorney that was sent to Pam Bondi, the United States Attorney General. And it's unfortunate that President Trump publicly attacked me a few days ago. And as a result of that, he telegraphed to the Department of Justice and to FBI that I should be targeted. You see, this is nothing more than an extension of his revenge, his retribution. And he finally got up to the J's. And so I stand prepared to respond to these baseless attacks with facts. And we look forward, obviously, to further discussions with the Department of Justice or any other individual who leaked this material. It's really critically important that this is in response to a $454 million judgment that my office secured against Donald Trump et al., a case which is currently on appeal. And as a result of that, and as a result of all of the cases that we have brought and we are winning, again, standing up for the rule of law, standing up for our fragile democracy, standing up for liberties and freedoms that we all enjoy, standing up at a time when our country, unfortunately, is under attack. Unfortunately, I have been someone who has been targeted, but I am not fearful. I am fearless, and I will continue to walk into the office of the New York State Attorney General and, again, protect the residents and protect them from any harms coming from the federal government. That is my mission. And then I took an oath of office. I took an oath of office to uphold the Constitution. And I took an oath of office to the residents of the great state of New York. And I will do everything in my power to protect them from any harm coming from this federal government. It's also important to know that just 2 days ago, we filed an action against HHS, an agency that its mission is committed to protecting and defending public health, but they are doing nothing but destroying public health. From Head Start to the 9/11 Health Fund, to lead poisoning for children, to Meals on Wheels, to veterans. All of these programs and more are being eliminated or cut by this government, by this federal government. And this is not how government operates. And I will not sit idly by and allow anyone to hurt the residents of my great state as I join with other attorneys general, Democratic attorneys general, as we join hands across this country to protect our democracy. This is not an oligarchy, and we refuse to allow Donald Trump to trample on the rights of individuals. We will be relentless, we will be unflinching, and we will be fearless.
There's no question. Anyone watching right now can feel your force and your fearlessness. And I think so many people are grateful for all the work you're doing to hold this administration to account through the law. New York Attorney General Letitia James, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. I hope you'll come back. We'll talk more about all of these cases that you've been working so hard on and coordinating with the other attorneys general out there in the country. Coming up, I'm going to talk about something else, which is Ivanka Trump, because she unveiled her latest pet project. And on behalf of Michelle